Humans, Disney fans, lend me your ears. The world has been at a total standstill for weeks now. And by world, I of course mean Disney World. When will Walt Disney World reopen? Let's chat. Guys, I know it has been total radio silence for me for the past few weeks, but in all honesty, it's been so difficult to even think about Disney World while simultaneously trying to live in denial that the most magical place on earth is shut down. I don't know why, but for some reason when I am having huge Disney withdrawals, it's always helpful to know that at any particular moment, someone out there is enjoying the magic. But since March 16th, that has not been the case. With the COVID-19 pandemic sweeping the country, Disney, in an abundance of caution, shut down Walt Disney World. Of course, other Disney parks were affected as well. I mean, all of them have been shut down, but since my channel and my knowledge mainly center around Walt Disney World, that's the park I'm focused on in this video. There has been tons of speculation as to when the parks might begin reopening and exactly how that might go down. Timelines have been predicted as anywhere from June to January for reopening, and all sorts of rumors have been flying around about protocol. Temperature checks for cast members and guests, required face masks for cast members and guests, one park reopening at a time, allowing guests in phases such as Florida residents, followed by pass holders, followed by guests staying on resorts. All of this, and so much more, has been speculated in articles making their way across social media. But it's all just that. Speculation. And until Disney releases an official statement, it will remain speculation. But in recent days, we've gotten a glimpse into how Disney World might function once they eventually reopen, whenever that may be. This glimpse is given to us by an Orange County, Florida task force that set into place guidelines and mandates for all of Florida's theme parks upon reopening. Now, of course, these are just guidelines that Disney World must abide by. However, they could also choose to add further guidelines and protocol. Again, we just won't know for sure until they make an announcement. Let's run down the basic premise of these guidelines. First off, capacity. Theme parks are to open in two initial phases. First, they will operate at 50% capacity, and if all goes well in that phase, they will open at 75% capacity. I'm assuming at some point the parks would open up to full capacity, but we'll be patient on that one. What is more important is this. How will Disney accomplish this? Will it be something along the lines of Florida residents first or annual pass holders first? Because either way, I'd like to point out an interesting scenario. Remember when Rise of the Resistance had just opened and people flocked to that park in the wee small hours of the morning to ensure they'd get into the park in time to secure a boarding pass? I'm predicting that Disney might have a similar problem if they don't come up with a plan, especially if they open up only one park at a time. Dare I say that even Florida residents would be able to easily fill a park up to 50% capacity. How on earth are they supposed to enforce any type of social distancing when people are trying to get as close to the entrance as possible? Madness, I tell you, madness! And unless Disney comes up with something, they are going to have a hard time controlling this. I'm imagining some sort of scenario similar to the boarding group of Rise of Resistance, but instead of boarding group times, they'll have entering times to get into the park. Whichever group they decide to let in first, Florida residents or pass holders perhaps, would get a notification on their phone of what time they will be allowed to enter the park in order to avoid overcrowding at rope drop. Or perhaps a wristband method akin to the special event parties. Different colors for different times of day. Your red wristband allows you access to the park from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., while a blue wristband will get you in from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., and so on. I'm sure Disney is going to get really creative with their solutions to this problem, and I can't wait to see what they land on. I'd really hate to see a mob of people behaving poorly trying to get into the parks when they reopen, but unless Disney figures something out, that just might happen. Next, all Disney cast members will be mandated to wear masks and have their temperature taken daily before they're allowed into the park. I'm on board with these mandates for the most part, but someone tell me, were people really going into work before all this happened? With fevers? If there's one thing that's shocking to me about this whole pandemic, it's that people apparently didn't know how to wash their hands or cover their coughs and sneezes, and how they shouldn't go to work when they have a fever. I was just not aware that this was not common knowledge in the first place. I'm sorry. These will be great procedures to have in place as the parks reopen, but I sincerely do hope that Disney cast members don't have to wear masks forever. There's just somewhat of a personal connection that is lost when you are not able to see someone's full face and see their beautiful smile. Of course, you can tell that they're smiling with their eyes, but it's just not the same as a full smile. Now, the mandates do not include guests being required to wear masks, but it remains to be seen whether or not Disney themselves will decide it's required for entry. It's notable to mention that on Shop Disney, they have introduced a line of Disney-themed face masks. It's unclear whether or not it was just done to capitalize on something that many people want to buy and pay for, or if they're making them available because they will in fact require them. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. However, it seems unlikely that they will require masks for guests simply because it is a bit risky for safety, and not health safety, but if someone does something bad or criminal in the park, it's gonna be tricky to figure out who done it. And I know they're using some sort of facial recognition technology that would be put to waste with everyone wearing masks, not to mention, eating? They say once you touch the mask, it's basically rendered pointless, so I can't wait to see what happens here. Next. Social distancing. Guys, I have been programmed for years to fill all available space. Last time we were waiting to see It's Tough to Be a Bug, I was backed into a corner by what felt like thousands of people, and I'm not a person who gets claustrophobic, but I was starting to freak out a little bit. And then the cast member said, please fill all available space, and it got even worse. So this might be a welcome change. It's gonna be interesting to see how they will implement this. Rumors are floating around that there will be more use of virtual queues, such as the process currently in place for Rise of the Resistance. This way, lines won't need to be smashed in to fit all the people. It's gonna be real interesting to see how some of these attractions are gonna deal with this, such as Haunted Mansion, where they pack as many people as they possibly can into a tiny elevator room. But hopefully with less capacity, all the pieces of this puzzle will fit together for social distancing to run smoothly. It will remain to be seen if social distancing is something they're going to have to keep up with once the park are back at full capacity. Lastly, there will be a higher abundance of hand sanitizers made available to guests, and the frequency of cast members sanitizing surfaces will see a big uptick. These are no-brainers and probably the easiest guidelines to facilitate. It'll be interesting to see if there will be cast members standing at the entrance of every ride, show, and restaurant with those spray bottle of sanitizers, kind of like they do on a cruise ship. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. And that pretty much wraps up the guidelines that have been put forth for Florida's theme parks. Of course, there's been lots more speculation about many other aspects of Disney's operations. What about character interactions? No hugging or just none at all? What about fireworks and shows in general where people pack in to get a closer look? Will these be temporarily put on hold during the first phases of reopening? I'd say there's a good chance we may not be meeting characters or seeing big shows for a while after Disney reopens. And now for the most important question, will I go to Disney as soon as they reopen? Well, that will depend largely on whom they are phasing in first. I am not a Florida resident, so if they're first, I just cannot go immediately. I am, however, an annual pass holder. Will I go if pass holders are in the first phase? I gotta tell ya, I'm really on the fence about it, and not so much because of the COVID. It has been so frustrating just to go to Walmart or Costco during this time, and with all the unknowns of how smoothly things are going to run for Disney upon reopening, I think I might let other people be the guinea pigs simply because I don't want to lose the magic. I fear that frustrations may be high upon the initial reopening, and I certainly do not want to feel frustrated at Walt Disney World. I think I'll wait to hear directly from Disney about how the reopening will take place before I make any decisions about booking a trip. But in the meantime, I'm getting excited about the thought of going back to the most magical place on Earth. So I'm starting a series of top 5 videos to get you amped up as well. The first series will be my top 5 attractions at each Walt Disney World park, starting of course with Magic Kingdom. So be on the lookout for those and other fun Disney videos coming in the near future. And what about you? Yes, you! I want to know, would you go to Disney World on the first day they reopen? Why or why not? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this video helpful or insightful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button and the bell right next to it so that you don't miss out on any of the Disney fun. Until next time, this is Melanie saying, we'll chat again soon.